Hey there, I'm Chris Carlisle, and you're listening to the podcast Highways and Byways. It's a podcast about Texas. This week, I'll look at some old theaters in Texas, places you can go to in Bryan College Station, places to eat chili in Texas, Texas in 2010, Texas Ghost Town, and a short-lived Texas sports team. But first, I got to go outside at my job and experience the eclipse on Monday. It was cool. That probably sounds a little corny, but that's all I can think to say about it. Anyway, coming up, famous old theaters in Texas. Alright, here are some old theaters in Texas. Some of these have movies, some have plays, concerts, and other shows. There's the Old Town Theater in Huntsville, the Beltonian Theater in Belton. I've seen some movies there. They show old movies. I saw Stagecoach with John Wayne, The African Queen with Humphrey Bogart, and Back to the Future 2. The Classic Theater of San Antonio, the Historic Texas Theater in Palestine, the Palace Historic Theater in Spur, the Paramount Theater in Abilene, the Texas Theater in San Angelo, the Campus Theater in Denton, the Cliftex Theater in Clifton, one of the oldest in the state, the Georgetown Palace Theater in Georgetown, the Far Best Theater in Mansfield, the Last Drive-In Picture Show in Gatesville. I saw a movie there one time, the Palace Theater in Seguin, the Globe Theater in Bertram, the Texan Theater in Greenville, the K Theater in Rockdale, the Waco Hippodrome, the Texas Theater in Sweetwater, the Majestic Theater in Arlington, the Palace Theater in Corsicana, the Texas Theater in Waxahachie, the Lyric Theater in Flatonia, the Grand 1894 Opera House in Galveston, and the Showboat Drive-In in Hockley. And there's the Lake Country Playhouse in Mineola. Alright, next, places to see in Bryan College Station. Okay, now here are some places to go to in the Bryan College Station area. There is the Messina Hoff Estate Winery, the Brazos Valley Museum of Natural History, the Aggieland Wild Animal Safari, a drive-through zoo, Lake Bryan, the Old Bryan Marketplace, Santa's Wonderland, a Christmas theme park, which is open during the Christmas holidays, Lick Creek Park, the Museum of the American GI, the Brazos Valley Farmers Market, Live Oak Archery, the Children's Museum of the Brazos Valley, the Bryan Ghost Walk, the Brazos Valley African American Museum, the Chapel Hill Historical Society Museum, the Bryan Bash Scavenger Hunt, and the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum. Coming up, places to eat chili in Texas. Sometimes on a cold night, like most Texans, I like to eat a bowl of chili. You can get out of the can, have Wolf Chili or some other brands. You can make it yourself, or you can go to a restaurant and have some. Here are some restaurants that have chili. There's Good's Armadillo Palace in Houston. There is the Texas Chili Parlor in Austin. There is Talbert's in Grapevine. There is Molina's Cantina in Houston. There is Fred's Texas Cafe in Fort Worth. There is the annual Terlingua International Cook-Off at Terlingua. There is the JCI Grill in Houston, which used to be James Coney Island. There is a Killen's BBQ in Pearland. There is a 24 Diner in Austin. There is the Holy Grail Pub in Plano. Coming up, what happened in Texas in 2010. Okay, and here are some things that happened in Texas in the year 2010. Rick Perry was reelected governor. The Rangers won the American League pennant for the first time and went on to lose to the San Francisco Giants in the 2010 World Series in 5 games. radio station KTON in Belton went off the air. They had the 2010 MLS All-Star game at Reliance Stadium in Houston. The MLS All-Stars lost to Manchester United from England 5-2. They had the WWE pay-per-view Hell in a Cell in Dallas. The Astros finished in 4th place in the National League Central. That would be their best record until 2015. The Texans finished 3rd in the AFC South. The Rockets finished 3rd in the NBA Southwest for the 2009-2010 season. The Houston Dynamo finished 7th in the MLS Western Conference. The U of H football team finished 3rd in the Conference USA Western Division. U of H men's basketball team made it to the NCAA tournament. The Dallas Cowboys finished 3rd in the NFC East. They fired head coach Wade Phillips during the season and replaced him with former backup quarterback Jason Garrett. The Dallas Mavericks lost to the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Western Conference first round, while the Spurs went on to lose to the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference semifinals. The Baylor football team finished 4th in the Big 12 South and went on to lose in the Texas Bowl. The Baylor men's basketball team made it all to the way to the Elite Eight. The Rice football team finished 5th in the Conference USA Western Division. The TCU football team beat Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl and was even voted national champion by a poll, by some computer ranking, I believe. The TCU baseball team made it to the College World Series. The Texas A&M football team lost to LSU in the 2011 Cotton Bowl, and the UT football team finished 6th in the Big 12 South. Coming up, a Texas ghost town. Okay, here's a Texas ghost town. It's Albuquerque, Texas. It was in Gonzales, Texas. It was settled in 1857. It had a store, a saloon, a blacksmith shop, a cotton gin, and a school. The post office opened in 1870 and closed in 1883. The famous outlaw John Wesley Hardin shot and killed 2 people there. The town was abandoned by 1912. Next, a short-lived Texas sports team. Okay, here's another short-lived Texas sports team. It was the San Antonio Wings from the World Football League. They were originally the Florida Blazers during the 1974 season. They played at Alamo Stadium. Their coach was Perry Moss, who had coached at Marshall before that. They were owned by Norman Bevan. They played only 13 games. The league folded during the season, but they had a winning record, 7-6. I talked about, I think on last week's show, the first TV station in Texas was WBAP TV in Fort Worth. That's now KXAS. The first TV station in Houston was KLEE TV, Channel 2. It was later bought by former Texas Governor Will Hobby and his wife Ovetta Culp Hobby. They owned the Houston Post and KPRC Radio, and they renamed the station KPRC TV. Some of the I had an uncle who worked there back in the 70s. Some of the reporters who had worked there were Kay Bailey, later U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, longtime newsman Ron Stone, longtime newsman Ray Miller, longtime ESPN sportscaster Ron Franklin, and Paul Azan also worked there for a while. Coming up, word from the good book. Okay, here's something from the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God. and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Here's a quote from a former Texas Speaker for the House, Billy Clayton, and it says, "A born Texan has instilled in the system a mindset of no retreat or no surrender. I wish everyone the world over had the dominating spirit that motivates Texans." Here's something from the Texas Humor Facebook page. It's a guide to talking Texan in 6 easy steps. Step 1. Think of words that end in G. Step 2. Don't pronounce the G. Step 3. Spring on the phrase fixin' to. Step 4. Use y'all instead of you guys. Step 5. Stop calling Cokes Pop. And Step 6. Congrats, you now talk Texan. And with that, that's going to do it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope everyone who lived in the path of totality for the eclipse got to see it and experience it. I'll be back next week with another episode. Be sure to hit the download button, leave a like and a rating, and subscribe on whichever platform you listen on. My name is Chris Carlisle. I produced and hosted this podcast. Until next time, I'll see you later.